All right, you are back, and so are we. And I don't have any apologies today, but I do have my friend Joel on the line. And I'm going to let him apologize if he feels the need. Joel, take it away, buddy.
I just want to apologize to Chris and the Chris Briggs Show for being too stoned to tell a simple story. It got way too complicated, and it was pretty bad. So I just want to apologize. I'm pretty sober of mind to appreciate how bad that story was last week. So.
And I'm giving you the opportunity now to redeem yourself by just telling a 30-second story. I have no idea what the story is going to be, but if you want to tell us a short story, I would like to hear that.
Okay, so can I start now, or when do you want me to start?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so I was driving down the road. There was an attractive female on the side of the road. I did a double take, and I looked forward, and there's a car stopped right in front of me. I looked up at the just the right time. I slammed on my brakes. I bumped into the car in front of me. The car in back of me slammed into my back, and we all were looking at the girl on the side of the road. And it turns out that the guy behind me, we all got out. The guy behind me came out, and he had no arms. He had little stubs.
What?
So he was an armless or a forearmless man. I don't know how he drove his car. He had some setup, but he didn't have any arms, and that's the story.
Wow, that was pretty good. Thank you, Joel. I appreciate your time.
All right. Well, no problem. If you need any more 30-second stories, I'll have to think about more later.
That's a good 30-second story time with Mr. Joel.
I don't know if that was 30 seconds. Did you actually clock me?
I didn't, but it was worth it. Whatever it was a dollar well received. If that's I make that up. I think I'm going to make that up. All right, sir.
All right, gentlemen, I got to leave, but thank you for having me on your prestigious show. Is John Rapp there?
Hello, Joel.
We have John here.
Hello.
What's up, buddy?
Where's the
Sarah's not here at the moment.
Where's your female companion?
Yes, that's a good question. Sarah's not here. She's not. Well, I think she's feeling fine. Sarah's just
exhausted.
She's exhausted. That's what it is. She's suffering from exhaustion.
You guys need some conservative vagina to complement your masculinity.
You want to help us with that, Joel?
I can't. I don't have a vagina, and I'll probably sprout some communist bullshit or something. No, I tend to lead more moderate. So maybe next time maybe I can be a voice of reason between the two opposite ends. Anyway,
All right. Well, have a good night. Don't hit anybody with your car. We appreciate you being part of the show. Good night, sir. All right. I hung up on him because I don't think he would have. You're listening to the Chris Briggs Show. The guy with no arms?
No armed police officer. That's crazy, dude.
Oh, was that?
Yeah, the police officer hops out of his squad car. He's got no arms. That's what I heard.
Are you serious? That's what you heard? I heard that the guy that ran into him.
That would make more sense, but
I don't remember that time. Remember that time we went? You do? We went to that. Why don't you share from your angle what happened there, and then I'll cut in.
The church?
Yeah, the church.
Someone that we worked with invited us to go to their church. Like, hey, come check out our church, on Wednesday night or whatever. So we did, and it's this huge building that looks like, cameras everywhere. It looks like
Secret Service
status, like doors locking, looks like passcodes to get in and whatnot. And we go in there. We don't know where we are. We're clearly lost and clearly never been there before.
No, all the doors were locked.
The doors were actually locked?
Yeah, and some guy with the little Secret Service earpiece in a suit, for the church, had to come let us in.
Yeah, he had the security earpiece in. He definitely looked like CIA status. Minus one thing, when he stuck out his hand to say hello, he didn't have a hand. He didn't really have much of an arm. It was just kind of a stump.
Yeah, this guy greeted me, and, he went to shake my hand. He stuck out his stump.
He sticks out the stump. Not the other hand, but the stump.
I didn't know who was being rude at that point.
He had one regular arm, but then on the other arm it was a stump, and he chooses to shake your hand with the stump.
It wasn't even, what was it, a stump? It was like it was...
It was a mangled claw or something.
Yeah, that's a really rude way to put it.
That's
but,
what it looks like.
Hey, we never said that we were anything polite over here. We treat people with respect.
Yeah,
he was a nice guy, and he did have a mangled claw for a hand.
You treated him with respect. You're like, how do we do this here? What are we doing here? And the guy goes, just kind of grab onto it and shake.
And grab onto it and shake. I did.
It was a good call asking how to handle that impolite situation. I find it weird that he put the stump out to shake.
I find that rude.
It's kind of rude. It's definitely weird.
You said you didn't see what was going on. You just heard me go, "Hey, what are we doing here?"
Yeah. And then he goes to shake my hand. I was like,
You thought he was doing some sort of like crazy handshake?
Yeah, like secret handshake or something.
It was a pretty crazy handshake. It was the craziest handshake I've ever experienced.
He could have been a Freemason for all I know.
I don't know I don't get that.
Freemasons have secret handshakes that they do.
Does it involve a mangled claw?
I don't know. I've never gotten to the upper echelon of Freemasonry.
I wonder if he can even do the Freemason handshake.
He probably can't. He'd have to use his other hand.
But then they say that it's rude if you extend your left hand.
What?
To shake hands?
Oh, left hand is just straight up. It's rude even if you're left-handed?
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of weird.
Like if you're left-handed, they say it's rude to extend your left hand.
Who's making up these rules, man? What about the lefties out there? Are they just rude?
I will tell you, Harry Masengale, I'll say his name, White Hair Productions, Maybe Tomorrow, filmmakers of Maybe Tomorrow, and a few other features you can buy, local Indianapolis. But that guy, he's left-handed, and that son of a bitch would always stick out his left hand. That used to piss me off. And he'd think that it was like, I'm left-handed, so I like to make people adapt to me. I'm like, whoa. I don't subscribe to the adapting to you policy, so you're going to have to fucking figure something out there. But before you know it, you're putting your left hand out because he's put his left hand out first.
Is it an awkward shake my hand? Is it?
I noticed I always
right hand out. The right hand is definitely more normal. Left hand is kind of like you might miss their hand, like
that's what I do all the time. When I shake somebody's hand, I always end up like they. I don't know what my deal is, but it has to be me because it happens to me all the time. Every time I put out my freaking hand, they always shake just the tips of my fingers.
The tips of it.
It's like, am I slow moving or like? Why are you shaking? Like I don't feel comfortable you squeezing the tips of my fingers.
Let me see the tips. Okay, there you go. You didn't like that.
No, I know I don't like it. That's what I'm saying. Like people do that to me all the time, and I think it has to be me. Like, what am I? Am I doing like a some sort of like feminine handshakers? Like, why?
You might be coming in from the top or something.
Maybe I am. I don't appreciate it though. It really pisses me off.
A swoop, come up from the underside.
But then they also say that you can tell the strength of a man based on his handshake, and I don't. If someone's doing that shit to me, it's like, what does that say about me? If I'm getting the tips of my fingers squeezed, like you don't squeeze the tip of me, buddy. Like I don't appreciate that.
Don't squeeze the tip. That's just.
It makes me feel uncomfortable, and then I feel like I have to prove. Like I'm just meeting the guy, and I already feel like I have to prove myself to him because he's squeezed. Like I feel like he's the boss now because he's squeezing my tips. It's like and I commonly say no. I start laughing. I'm like, no, let's get a real handshake here.
Right.
And I flip it on them. I make it their fault.
What do they do?
They shake my hand the second time.
Yeah, like properly.
Yeah, and I squeeze it real hard. No, just.
I thought of a story that happened to me when Joel was telling his story. Do you want me to tell it?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know. I might regret saying that.
It's a quick story. It's
30 seconds or less.
Well, I don't know about that. We'll try to keep it down. It was a car accident. It was a 3-car pileup that I caused, and I wasn't even in the car at the time. Like, I told you about this when it happened, but my truck broke down because I was out of gas, and this cop pulls up behind me, and he's like, "Hey, I'll help you push your car over to the side of the road, so you're not in the middle of this intersection." So we're pushing the truck. And we get and I'm on the steering wheel, pushing and steering, and he's behind the truck pushing. And so once we get it going fast enough, he's like, okay, hop in, hop in. And it's already going fast enough, and I don't know, like I tried to jump in, but I didn't make it, so I fell on the ground. And the car, so the truck is going fast enough for me to not be able to jump into it. And it's and then I stand up and see my truck just driving away from me, There's nobody in it. The door is open. And then all of a sudden it hits one car, just boom. And I hear some lady go, what the hell, man? And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. And then it went on to hit another car, boom. And then somehow I hit a third car and then crashed into a tree. And then some good old boy that lived at the house ran out and he's like, what are you doing, you idiot? And I'm sorry. And he jumped in it and like kind of helped. Oh, he stopped it with his hands like on the hood, like superhero status. Like he was just put his hands out in front of the hood and stop you. And so, yeah, that was my story. The cop had a hard time believing that I wasn't drunk.
Yeah, I was going to say, did he give you a field sobriety test after that?
He should have. He didn't. I told him, I was like, I fell down, man. I'm sorry. And he was like, oh, the other guy was saying you might have been drunk. And I showed him my knee, and that was good enough for him. But
your knee that was all scraped up?
Yeah, scraped up knee. I was like, I'm not drunk. I said, yeah, I fell. But the officer was really cool. I've seen him around town a few times since then. I always waved to him, and he kind of looks the other way. So that was my 3-car pileup story.
That's one of the craziest car, and you got a lot of crazy car stories.
That was the most recent one. I can remember most of the details of that.
How
one.
recent was that?
Probably like last month, a couple months ago. Yeah. It was fun explaining it to the insurance company.
Oh my God.
I remember driving the tourist down that big hill at Skatopia. Segway.
Are we segueing?
I don't know. It could be one.
I thought we were going to go into the show.
Yeah, we should.
Skatopia.
Hold that segue for later.
We'll go into Skatopia later and talk about that.
But they had that big hill, though, and it was like...
They did have a big hill.
And we totally drove the tourists down it, and Dale was like, oh, you're not going to make it back up this hill, turn. And was like, telling me how to drive and stuff.
Yeah.
And you're yelling out the window the band name. You can maybe bleep it out. Blah, blah, rules, yeah!
Screaming out the band name while we're causing all sorts of ruckus.
Yeah, people were cheering. They're like, yeah! After we made it, because I guess it didn't look like we were going to make it. Like, we're in this little four-door sedan or whatnot. There's no way it's going to make it down this rugged,
For those of you who don't know, Skatopia is it's like a punk commune. It's a skate park. Skatopia is a skate park.
Yeah,
and they had a Rolling Stone article that kind of summed it up. It's called 88 Acres of Anarchy, and
Bruce Martin's the owner. He owns it.
Yeah, he's a professional skateboarder, right?
I think so.
Yeah. CIA.
Yeah, Citizens Instigating Anarchy, the CIA team. Give a big shout out to those guys. Give a big shout out to Bruce Martin for having our band there. That's really cool.
Yeah, but it's like there's this giant hill that you have to go up.
Yeah, there's a few of them, but yeah.
You have to go all the way up. Yeah, a lot of bands, they won't.
They don't take the tour bus in there. Yeah, Green Jello brought the tour bus in there. They were like the only band ever to do that.
And you can't get big. They can't get big bands because
bands won't play there
until they pave it.
Yeah, until they pave it, it's all gravel and just haggard. It's totally
and mud, and it rains, and then you're pretty much screwed. And when you're going up that hill, you see cars all the time. Like you'll see a group of dudes with their back wheels in the air.
Yep,
and they're just spinning. And they got a rear wheel drive car, and it's like, what the hell are they going to do? And there's like people sitting on it trying to get it down. Just
they have a truck there with a Big Bear or whatever that just that's what he does. He goes and pulls people out of the mud.
That's not all he does.
He doesn't like to do that though. He definitely gives you the riot act.
Yeah, he tells you you're an idiot. What the hell are you doing bringing this piece of shit up here? You can't come up this hill.
But the 4-door tourist made it up and down the hill. I don't know how.
Yeah. That was our spot. We camped at the top of the hill, but you have to have the car there to block your tent, so that no maniac comes and runs over you in the middle of the night.
That was an experience.
It was. But
out there in Amish country.
It was Amish country.
In the backwoods.
Rutland, Ohio. They said,
Ohio.
What is it, 70% of the population at Rutland, Ohio is on welfare?
Yeah, it's definitely a broken down town.
Yeah, I want to say real quick before I start the show. The show hasn't even started yet. Before I start the show, I would like to say that I really wanted to tell a story about you and your 3-car pileup. Those damn trucks with the stick, man. They cause all sorts of problems. Because one time I was
my truck was a stick. I forgot to mention that. Yeah,
and I had a truck just like that at one point.
The Bone Mobile.
The Bone Mobile. And that thing, it was a GMC Gypsy. And the back of it was like an S10. Like it had 3 different pieces on it that made it up. Like it was in the windshield. Like the whole thing was wired by somebody before I bought it. I got the thing for $600, and
it had some crazy custom wiring.
Oh yeah, it would shock you. Like everything, like pieces, like any mechanics were just hanging off. And they would shock you if you touched them. But if, like the windshield wiper knob was just hanging off. And there'd be a little toggle switch that the prior owner had installed.
They put a Jack Rooney on top.
Yeah, so you'd have to flip this switch to turn the windshield wipers on. They were either on or off. And you turn them off, they would stop right in the middle, But the point is, I got this truck and I had to go to get fired from a job.
You had to go get fired?
Yeah, I had to go in for this little meeting, at a major corporation. Excuse me. And as I'm in the process of, getting fired and, being told my options, somebody comes in and says, "Do you own that crazy truck out there with the skull all over it and stuff?"
They already know that you do.
Yeah, and I'm like, yeah. And they're like, well, it just rolled backwards. It hit another vehicle
in the company parking lot.
It hit another vehicle. Yeah. So like, as this asshole's looking at me, firing me. Yeah, this son of a bitch is firing me, and he's so happy. And and I'm like, so as I'm getting fired, I got in a car accident at the same time.
That would have been great if it hit the manager's car.
He wanted to fuck me so bad, dude. He was out there like examining, like looking for the tiniest scratch he could find.
To try to get you on some trumped up charges?
Yeah, just so he could just throw a little more shit on my lap.
What a jerk!
Yeah, that guy was a genuine prick. Is it okay to say his name?
I don't. Yeah,
his name was Ted Bell, and that guy treated me. And I'm not going to say I was a perfect employee, and I'm not even going to say what company I worked for. But that guy Ted Bell treated me with so much disrespect.
Really,
so much disrespect. And I mean, I know that I wasn't the perfect employee. And I know that he laid down the disrespect before I lifted my respect.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. You got to give it to get it.
Yeah, and I was given enough respect, and he was just treating me like shit.
He was supposed to be the mediator, like conflict mediator. Like if you have a problem with your boss, you go talk to Ted. That's what I remember. Yeah, because I talked to him quite a few times.
That guy was a world-class prick, dude. Like,
he definitely ended up firing me as well.
Yeah. Oh, that guy fired you too?
He was there when I got fired. Yeah, like I tried to appeal the decision. I was like, Ted, they're doing me all wrong, And he was like, no, there's nothing I can do.
You know what? We're supposed to be on this indie in tune.
Oh yeah, the Indian,
not Indian, not like not Indian tune, indie in tune,
indie space.
Yeah,
in tune.
Yeah, the real cool. Okay. Yeah, real cool podcast out of Indianapolis here. And it's They do 24/7 live, like radio on the internet. It's all local.
Wow, I've heard of this.
Yeah, and they want to put our show on there, but the guy hasn't listened to it yet. He's going to listen to it, and I'm sure when he listens to it, he's going to be like, "You can't say Ted Bell's name." As much of an asshole as that guy might be, he might end up being the guy's neighbor.
Well, there's 1,000 Ted Bells out there. I'm talking about the Ted Bell from Taco Grande that I used to work at.
Yeah, short little fucker. Like that guy. I'm telling you right now, I have a lot of bosses, and some are bad, some are amazing. And the guy that worked under him was one of the most amazing bosses I've ever had. Unfortunately, I'm not going to say his name to give him credit.
Why not? That would also kind of expose who maybe Ted Bell is.
Yeah, maybe, but I mean, the best boss I ever had. There
was that one lady that smelled like vinegar.
Oh God, she was nice too, but that Ted Bell was a piece of shit, man. And this is why you have these forums, so you can say things like this. You know?
That's true. It's freedom of speech.
And I'm not saying that he was wrong. I'm not trying to get him in trouble. I'm just saying that guy's an asshole, man. If he's going to continue to live his life like that, he's not going to get anywhere good.
Not in the workplace, Yeah,
and I don't know how you approach these things, Is Indian Tune going to... Indie in tune.
They might have to censor the CBS.
Yeah, or he might ask us to, which is fine with me. You ask me to do whatever else, censor myself. You're going to play me 24/7. Wait, no, he's not going to play us 24/7.
He's going to put us on his 24/7 radio broadcast.
Yeah,
in between all the other great slices of radio.
Yeah, the brew indie beer indie local.
The indie brew,
free beer,
the
free beer brew podcast.
Those are good guys.
No, they are. I mean, they're decent, but I mean, that doesn't look. They're cool. Indie in tune is cool. Ted Bell's a fucking prick. Bruce Martin's cool. John Rapp's cool. Sexy Sarah, that's another issue, but just joking.
Well, Sarah's suffering from exhaustion. Remember,
she doesn't listen to these shows anyway.
Yeah,
though.
no, she doesn't. She doesn't. If you want to call in and say something about Sarah, she won't ever hear it. She doesn't listen to our own show. You said you're like, anytime you hear about like Eminem in the news or anybody say they got to quit tour or whatever because of exhaustion, yeah, that means drug addiction, drug abuse, painkillers, some type of drug abuse. So I wonder if Sexy Sarah is actually out on some Quaaludes.
No, I think she's just working her fingers to the bone.
Doing what?
Going to school and working.
One day a week?
No,
I thought you said she went to school one day a week.
Physically, but she's taking 3 classes. Yeah, no, she's got a lot on her plate. Proverbial plate. I don't. Hey. Everything's longer today. Oh, all right. It's time for a break. And when we come back, we got all sorts of...
We got some prank calls, hopefully.
We got a whole bunch of unplanned awesomeness for you. I think these unplanned shows go better than the planned ones.
They usually do.
Yeah.
But we can't tell you what's going to unfold.
Yeah, because we don't know.
Prank phone calls and the best half-hour radio you have heard on this program yet.
Yeah, and if you like it, and you want to help us out,
there you go.
You can
this
donate.
Is something we really need to talk about, man. We're talking about doing a Kickstarter.
Oh, you're right.
Because we need a computer.
I feel so weird about doing that.
I do too. I'm kind of shy about doing the Kickstarter because you don't want to start the Kickstarter and then get no money. Like, hey, our Kickstarter's online, and you get no money.
But then you don't feel like. I'm more worried about it because I don't know if we have something worth even. You know what I mean? Like, who the fuck are we,
Yeah, I do know. I don't know who we are.
I mean, we need a new computer.
We need it. If anybody out there is listening to this that appreciates what we're trying to do.
Everybody's listening to this.
Okay, everybody that hears it that also wants to help us out. We need a computer because we can't do the phone calls anymore because Google has updated their
we have bad
stuff.
software. We have an old computer the software can't be updated anymore.
Yeah, we can't use Google Hangouts.
So old.
We can't use Skype. We can't do much of anything with it. So we can't have callers anymore. Like if you hear callers on us because we plugged Chris's iPhone into the soundboard. So and they can't hear us talking. So we need a computer.
If you want to be on the show, get us a new computer, and we'll do our first show. That'll be a good one because you have to with this Kickstarter. You have to come up with things to offer people.
Yeah, it's like different tiers. Like $5 gets you this, $10 gets you that,
and maybe if you give like $1,000, or what gets the computer? Like it'd probably cost us like $2,500 at least for the new computer.
Yeah.
$2,500 gets you
just a donation.
Gets you the guest. You're the guest for the first 2 shows with the new computer. Do whatever you want. Whatever you want to talk about, we'll talk about it. We're here to serve you.
Yeah, Mr. $2,000, Mr. $3,000, $25,000. You can come on the show at least once, maybe twice.
Maybe twice, hell. You donate that, we'll say your name at the beginning
for a whole year
of every show for a full year.
Well, that's what we need to iron out, though. I mean, but we don't want to be tied to these. This is not a verbal contract. But
well, yeah, we'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
If you hit us up on Twitter, if you got ideas for what would be cool, what you want. Like if you're going to give money to us and help us out, what do you want from us?
Yeah, tell us what you want. You want Sexy Sarah, eat a hot dog bun full of hair and poop, Hey, name your price, right?
Send Sarah over to your house and, do the podcast live from your bedroom. That's.
I'm gonna speak for Sarah. I hate you guys. That's always when you said something good. Sarah tells you she hates you.
Yeah, that's true.
That's how girls show love. They say they really hate you.
Yeah, the best thing you say, they hate the most. That's how it always works. That's why I'm single right now. So I'm single, living in my mom's house, doing a podcast, asking for money from strangers.
From Todd.
Just being honest. Just
Todd, if you want to give us money, we will let you.
Yeah, I'm letting you know. I'm opening myself up here. Here's what's going on. You like Wayne's World? Support the Wayne's World right here. That's what's going on. Like
it's Chris break. It's Chris break. Party time. Excellent. All right, far out.
All right. Or you can also go to PayPal. I don't have my spiel.
Go to chrisbreakshow.podomatic.com and scroll to the right-hand side of the screen. You'll see a PayPal donate button. Please donate via that. Or hit us up on chrisbreakshow@gmail.com and ask about the prizes we're giving away on the Kickstarter.
All right. Thank you, John. We're going to take a break. Have a good one.
We'll get the prank calls on next.
Picking at your fingernails, picking at your froze, picking at your fingernails, picking at your froze, picking at your fingernails, picking at your froze, picking at your fingernails, picking at your froze. Nervousness, nervousness.
All right. Hey, we're back. And we got Zack Attack and John. And we're all here. A lot of time has passed. But I will tell you this. It's my sister's birthday. Coming up in like 2 days.
Oh, I was like, today?
No. 2 days.
2 days, not 2 days.
But the thing that pisses me off about that is we have to go see the Hunger Games. Because it comes out on her birthday, Catching Fire.
Does that piss you off?
No, what pisses me off is actually having to watch it in a movie theater on the day it comes out.
You know, like crowd or
yeah, the crowd. Like I hate that because you have to buy the ticket in advance, which is no problem. but then when you get there, you get a shitty seat if you show up 5 minutes before the movie starts. You got to get there like an hour early.
And who wants to be there an hour before?
Yeah, I don't want to be there an hour early.
They don't even have cool trivia anymore.
And then plus, like, usually when you go to the movie theater, you sit. You're so jam-packed in there like fucking cows that you have to have a seat between you and the person you're sitting next to.
And the person next to you is like, have you read the books?
I don't even care about that. I just don't like the fact that, like, I like to have my space. And then you go see it on this day, and then everybody's squeezed in, and there's no space at all. And
for some people,
I
that's
just get a little
whole,
anxious.
Like, for some people, that's the whole movie-going, part of the whole movie-going experience.
Well, the claustrophobia?
Yeah, the claustrophobia, the agoraphobia, the combination.
Some of you guys are sick, you film guys. So, Zach, you like the claustrophobic element of the movie theater? Oh,
no,
okay.
I just said for
some people. You're doing some Fox News, right?
Yeah, I mean,
some people say.
Well, you get in there, and then the people usher you in. First of all, and they
a stampede.
They search you now. They wand you down now.
Dude,
so if you go to opening night of a movie, especially something like Hunger Games, because of the Dark Knight,
Dark Knight
fatality, catastrophe, now you get wanded down.
Dark Knight, the guy shot up the theater, right?
Dark Knight Rises. I'm sorry.
Dark Knight Rises, new.
Yeah, you get. They search you, and then you don't have a fucking decent seat. If you don't want, if you get, just the whole thing just pisses me off.
I went to that trilogy, and so we didn't hear about until after it happened. So we had seen
trilogy?
It. We went. Well, my friend and I went and saw the Dark Knight trilogy. So we saw Batman Begins, Dark Knight Rises. And
did you guys get searched?
No.
Where was this?
Because it was before it happened.
Right, it was in Colorado, so actually,
before
we were not in Colorado to the east, so it was behind us. But yeah, it was weird getting out of the movie and finding that out immediately after because I was on the radio. It was just really, it's real strange. Movies.
Yeah, well, I did see that Dark Knight in the theater, and that pissed me off too, because I didn't get there at a reasonable time, and it was showing on 14 screens, and I show up on the 14th screen, and
you got to walk all the way down the hall.
Yeah, well, whatever. No, I could either sit at the very front of the theater on the far left side. And see like
slim pickings.
You have to move your head around left to right to see what's happening.
What's the worst?
So I sat on the floor.
The least worst.
Yeah, I sat on the floor. I sat on the floor.
Oh, did you get ushered? The usher come and tell you no?
No, I sat in the handicap spot. Yeah.
What are you gonna do? I'm
My
handicapped.
My tailbone hurts so bad by the end of it.
You were handicapped when you left.
I have a tail. It's not my
Do you?
tailbone. My tail hurts. My actual tail hurts.
You have
the usher.
like a story to tell?
No, that's what you tell the usher. My tail hurts.
Like shallow hell?
That's my handicap. Yeah, you're George
Oh, the
Costanza
tail.
with the tail. Yeah, shallow hell. But that is the worst part
Good.
of going to a movie during the premiere.
You have to wait. Like, I don't understand why in Indianapolis they don't have the assigned seats.
Yeah,
Like,
in
San
LA?
Francisco, L.A.,
Wow.
you have
was
assigned
awesome.
seats. You pick them, too. You know, when you buy your ticket beforehand, you can
Wow.
pick exactly where you want to sit.
Out in L.A. they do that?
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
Like, it's
That makes sense. They got the entertainment industry down.
Yeah.
That would be nice.
got the
you know,
whole
sitting in
experience.
5A, you know. Do you get into you're in my seat type of deals out there?
I don't think you get into that deal.
I don't know what that means.
Well, like you
means,
get
like-
in there and big black Eddie is sitting in your seat, you know, with his posse, you know, like
That sounded somewhat racist.
the guy's black.
Big black Eddie.
Big black Eddie is going to whoop White John's ass in my mind, you know. I mean, I'll do my best, but you know, I'm not trying to. I'm not going to throw my cards against Big Black Eddie. I mean, I'm just saying you would have to politely, you know, figure out how to be like, hey man, this is definitely my seat. You got to go sit in the handicap spot with Chris Brake down there, you know. Pretend you got
No.
a tailbone. Does that happen out there?
I would not have that problem. I would have to sit in the handicap spot if I had assigned seats. I could show up whenever I wanted
But
to.
that's what he said. What if you went in there and someone was in your seat? And what if the theater
The
wasn't-
usher takes care of it.
No, what if the theater wasn't full, though? Would you know...
No, you don't.
You don't?
No, because we did. Like, you don't mess with. I mean, you got 20 people in the theater built for 100. You know,
Speaking of
and some
Seinfeld,
guys sitting there in the middle. You don't.
That's a perfect Seinfeld. That's a
it
perfect
was.
episode right
I
there.
think that was Hispanic guys he was yelling at.
Oh, I have no. I'm just saying that's
That is
that's a
perfect.
sitcom episode if I've ever heard one.
I have a
right there.
racially photographic memory. I'm sorry, but
Racially photographic.
in a comedic element, race is usually somehow involved to one degree or another. And as George Costanza, I think it was maybe a Puerto Rican or Dominican type of people.
Well,
he was
speaking of
yelling
having
at.
your spot there, having a spot reserved for you.
Right.
We said we were going to talk about the Skatopia thing.
Right.
And when you show up at any venue, if you're in a band, you usually immediately go to the booker. You know, the guy who booked the show, or the sound guy, or something. You know, it's usually the booking.
The doorman, somebody.
Somebody's in charge, and they tell you when the hell you're playing.
Right.
And we get to Skatopia, and this guy, like, there's no one there to tell you at all where you're playing, what stage you're on, when. You know, like, it's pretty much like a glorified, like, it's kind of like the Lost Boys from Hook or Peter Pan. Like, you get there, and there's nothing, there's everything going on at once, but no one's in charge. And the person who you think is in charge, A, isn't there, and B, everybody else is telling you that he's not in charge.
That's the worst.
Yeah. And we're there for a 2-day festival, and these people are like, you know, we think, okay, we're here to see Foo. We got to see Foo. They're like, Foo's not here.
Fu was the guy that quote unquote booked us at
Yeah.
Skatopia, right?
He brought us there.
Yeah, he got us there.
What do you mean brought you there or got you there? He just said, "Come on out."
He
Was that-
contacted us and said he was booking bands to play at Skatopia, and we were like, "Yeah, that'd be cool." You know, what's the details? Yeah, we'll play. You know, so that's all we knew
true.
about Skatopia. You know, we were like, "This is awesome. This 88 acres of anarchy place."
Yeah.
That movie hadn't come out
It
yet. but-
initially sounds legitimate.
yeah, it's
you know?
like, wow, we were honored to be able to go there, you know, because neither of us skateboard, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, we like it. Like, I'm just clumsy, you know what I mean? Like, I like to ride the longboards that don't get off the ground, you know, just ride around on them. But you know, we like skateboard community. It's cool to be accepted by them. And then we were, like, everybody was real, like, do you skate? Oh, are you in a band? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
it's
you're
like,
one or
wow,
the
that was, it was respected there. Yeah.
Nope.
That's it. I
No.
really like the skateboarding community. Like, they have a lot of love.
You're one of 3 things.
Yeah.
If you're at Skatopia,
What's the 3?
you're one of 3 things. You're either in a band,
Right?
or 2, you're a skater, or 3, you're homeless.
That's actually true, I think, yeah. As far as I know, yeah.
Were there children there?
I might have seen some young tykes, but I didn't see any babies or anything.
No, I didn't know of any parents that had kids that lived there.
A lot of dogs.
Yeah, lots of dogs. It was like, wow, this is cool. We brought Harold, you know what I mean? Our little tiny dog.
Little buddy.
Little buddy, Harold, you know, and
he ran with the pack.
He did.
Let
He
him
got
go.
loose.
He ran with the pack, 88 acres, and he came back. And he ran with the dogs the whole weekend and had a blast.
Yeah.
And at the end of it, he just showed up and got back in the car. And he was covered in all sorts of shit that you had to brush out of his hair.
Yeah, for the next, like, driving to the next state or whatever. Yeah, we were still pulling out those crazy gnarly Skatopia brambles out of his hair.
And he found his way back.
It was his Woodstock.
Yeah, Woodstock without anything. I mean, they have built, the things that they have built are all, like, skateboarding related. They haven't really built, like, they have, like, ramps and stuff in the main.
Yeah.
And
so
that's
awesome.
Awesome.
You're playing on the side of a bowl or something.
Exactly, yeah. While people are skating, you know, you get to play music, and it's just like you kind of
there's no
create with them. Because skateboarding is definitely an art form, you know. You get to create music while people skate. It's a really cool feeling. And yeah, that's really cool. But there was a lack of organization.
It's chaos. It's
I was saying
acres of anarchy, and this guy, everyone's, you know, like, Fu finally showed up, and he's like, I got a list. Put your name on this list. We're gonna book you. We're gonna schedule you. I got this list.
Just sign.
Yeah, and you know he's talking to everybody. He's telling us 8, and then you know he tells us what stage we're
maybe
on.
We'll play at 8, and the whole time other people are like, "Fu told you what? No, he's not in charge. What are you talking?" And they'll be like these. They're real like kind of pack oriented. So it's like, who are you? I mean, it's down like kind of in the redneck kind of community,
and
you know.
Dale J. Gordon.
Oh yeah,
he solved that problem.
What did he do?
He solved that problem. He figured out the pack. He figured out how to infiltrate.
He did.
He was like, okay, guys, we're playing on this stage right here. He's like, either one of us can go first, but we have to know that we're both playing back to back. And our excuse, if anybody asks, it's because we have to use each other's equipment.
That guy is such a character, dude.
Oh yeah, and he's like,
we need to definitely
let's
write
find
him
this
into
sound
something,
guy.
man. That guy is hilarious.
He says, let's find the sound guy. So he finds the sound guy, and he's like, this is the stage we're playing on, and this is our sound guy. And he goes up to the guy, and he hands him a brown paper sack with an apple, a peanut butter sandwich, and a beer. And says, hey, man, my name's Dale J. Gordon. I'm with the... I want you to know that we like you, and we're just giving you this beer because I think that you're worth it, and you need it. So when are we playing? And the guy's like, cool, man. Yeah, we'll get you up after these guys. But then I think Dale realized that he told that to everyone. So yeah,
all the bands were probably coming up to this guy.
Yeah, every
saying,
band
hey,
was
man,
coming on next.
Here's a sandwich.
So Dale's like, "Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna grab all of our equipment, and we're gonna take it. And we're just gonna sit it on the stage. I don't care what's going on, who's playing, who's next. We're gonna take all of our equipment and sit it on the stage, and nobody's got nothing to say about nothing because we already have our shit here."
Yeah, that was a really good idea. He's
yeah.
thinking logically the whole time.
Yeah, and that's what we did.
Yeah.
But we were told at like noon that we were going on at 2. And then at 3, so I'm having my beers. You know, I'm like, let's get a little sauced here.
We're about to go on at 2.
Let's get a little sauced.
We'll have one or two
let's
before
get ready.
The show, and then
it turns into an all-day festival. And finally, at 2 a.m., we're
2
finally
a.m.?
at 2 a.m.
Is
finally,
that what time we finally got to play?
it was so late, man.
Yeah,
And our band actually, no, that was a different occurrence. It was the first time our band
we played
left.
there like 3 times.
Yeah, the first time our band left. The second time, anyway. We're about to go on, and it's now 2 a.m.
Yeah,
And I had to...
I remember that.
Yeah, and I had to have a costume. I had this little thing that I was wearing, right? You know, so I was going to wear this shirt and these pants. So I had to change my pants.
Right.
But, you know, I was drinking at noon. So by the time we get on to 2 a.m., and I'm changing my pants, I'm like, well, I don't need to put these pants back on. This will be funny if I just go up in my underwear.
Yeah, it took a cue from the green Jello. The guy did.
Yeah, the Mr. Marshall Stats. So I go on there in the underwear, you know, in my shirt.
You go on stage
with a mask. We didn't even want to know who we were, so I had my mask
and your underwear.
My underwear and my shirt.
That's how you started off.
Yeah, that's how I started off.
Started off the show in the underwear.
And then,
you can only imagine where this is going to go.
One song in, I couldn't see anymore because of my glasses and the mask. So I had to take the stupid mask off my face.
Right.
So now everybody knows who I am. Who cares? And then, you know, eventually the shirt comes off. And I'm just up there in my Grinch, How the Grinch Stole Christmas underwear.
I do think it was that girl who prompted you to take the shirt off. What was her name? It was familiar from the Bible. Jezebel.
Jezebel.
Yeah,
Oh,
I think in my head, because I
How
was
fitting.
playing. Yeah, exactly right. It was just like, wow, this is just too much of a trip to try to fall for you, Jezebel. But I think she ripped your shirt off, like, hey, give me your shirt, like something
God.
like, because yeah.
I never found the shirt.
I'm cold.
And then we got
Yeah.
one last song left, and I'm like, take a cue from G.G. Allin. One last song left.
Yeah,
I'm
one
like,
last song.
you know what?
GGL, great punk rock.
I'm gonna do it because I started drinking at
GGL,
noon,
known for playing naked, known
Yes.
for just doing the crazy stuff.
and then by 3 a.m. I'm shit faced from noon, and I'm on stage, and I got one song left, and I decide I'm gonna take my underwear off.
I remember, in my head, remember the moment you do it. And in my head, I remember you said, like, oh, yeah, okay, I'll do it. That's what I remember. And then you ran into the crowd.
Like it was
Yes.
a threat.
I ran into the
like
crowd,
someone prompted you.
completely naked,
Someone requested
acting a
this.
fool. I jumped around. I started a circle pit. People were slapping my ass. I fell down. I was so drunk I fell down completely nude on the fucking deck of whatever that place was with the skate bowl next to me, whatever that stuff is. I don't even remember. I just know I was naked and it's the last song and I'm gonna fucking do it. And then the song was over. And then you guys started playing, and then I was like, oh, crap, I miscalculated. There's a second song. It wasn't the last song. So then, and at that point, I felt like I was going to puke because I was drunk since noon, and I ran in a circle for fucking 3 minutes. So I'm like, I'm going to puke. So I just sat down on some stranger's amp, naked.
You just did some Henry Rollins, just like, I'm going to go all out for the last song, include nudity in it, just go all out on this last song. Just until there's no drop of energy left. But it was the second to last song. So you wake up on the second to last song and you're naked in a puddle of sweat.
Yep.
We got one more for you.
Thank you.
Yep. That's exactly what happened. And then what proceeded was the least energetic performance of the whole show. I then sat down naked on a stranger's amp and just sat there while I sang the last song so that I wouldn't puke on the stage.
I think they all understood, brother.
Yeah.
The audience was trying, the bands before us, I remember this one guy in particular, like, hey, brother, have a drink with the crew. And it was like, you couldn't not do it. Like, no, I don't want this. Like, yeah, you do it, motherfucker. Ooh. It's like this, you know what I mean? You don't want to step out of line with those guys, especially if you've only been there a couple of times. It's like, you know what I mean? You could be seconds away from some tragic,
Well, even beforehand, I was in the sound booth, like with the guy, because he had his own little booth. The guy that was operating the sound.
Yeah.
And I was smoking a herbal blend with him.
Yeah, but you guys did really smart stuff with networking.
Well, he was awesome. Well, the dumb thing I did,
all you do is talk to
I was
him.
like, what are all these knobs? He had like a 32-track mixer. I'm like, what are these?
Right.
And he's like, I don't know, brother.
Right.
And I was like, oh yeah, what's this one? And I grabbed it and I just started going whoop whoop and turning it up and down, and you could hear the music just stop on the stage. And he looks at me and goes, "That was the vocals, dude." No. He turned it back up.
Wasn't his name like Rooster or something?
Oh man,
It may not have been, but he's a cool guy.
it was something like that. It was something animalistic.
Yeah, we'll give a shout out to Rooster if that is your name.
That was a horrible crow. You got a crow? You got a crow?
It's a turkey. A crow?
The rooster's crow. Nice.
This one's for you, my brother.
Indian tune.
I'm a crow.
So that's a story of how I accidentally got naked on stage. I wasn't aware it was happening, and by the end of it, after the show was over, I was walking up that big sloppy hill.
Oh man, that was a beast.
I had my underwear, and I was walking up that hill, and I fell down the side of it, and it got wrapped in what I now know as what is it? It's that brass cable. It's that copper cable that like it starts with a B. It's what's inside like concrete. Like
Yeah.
anybody who's listening knows exactly what I'm talking about. But it's horrible, horrible stuff that I got wrapped up in, and I got scratched up, and I think I broke my glasses, and I was only in my underwear. I was only wearing my underwear, just walking around Skatopia at the end of the night by myself, and shit blowing up everywhere. It was
the whole time. I
somehow.
was gonna say most people wore masks on stage because they were afraid of the fireworks shooting in their face.
And I was completely naked, and somehow at the end of it, I'm wandering around all by myself in my underwear, falling down, and I never felt more relaxed in my life.
Yeah, it was so chaotic. I didn't experience the whole nudity blackout, thing, but I definitely it definitely pushed me into a place I'd never seen. I really like that place. I always wanted to go back and help them do some work. I'm making quotes here, but I'm not helping anybody build anything. I'm not skilled in that.
It's a cool place.
Go there to play, or I would like to donate money to them or something if I had it.
Or you can just go to PayPal and donate to the Chris Break Show. Go to chrisbreakshow.podomatic.com, and on the right you'll see a link, and you click it. So you say, I want to give $1 to the Chris Break Show,
or more,
or less. Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, whatever you want. No donation is too small, and we appreciate you, and we want to get naked and perform at your house. So if you want to give us $10,000, I'll give half of it to Sarah and let her get naked, and I'll take the rest to myself and buy a new computer.
Assuming she would get naked for $5,000.
There's no, I don't. There's no discussion. Like,
okay,
I tell her.
You've had this conversation before, then apparently.
She's gonna kill me for saying this. No, she most likely would not do it.
Totally not do that.
Yeah, and most likely would not do that.
And if you're a fan of the show, you wouldn't ask her to do that,
I'm not. What does that say about me?
He hates this fucking show. I'm not a fan of the show.
We had a couple of things lined up, but
yeah,
we're gonna. That happens. Well, I have something to share.
All right, tell us.
You were telling us about the show, things out of your control. We had a similar experience. I'm not sure if you remember, John and I. We were playing a venue here in town, and we get there. Well, actually,
Indianapolis.
Yeah, Indianapolis, Indiana. In fact, is there another Indianapolis in the United States?
I'm sure there is.
I think there's in one.
Not Minneapolis. I'm saying Indianapolis, Indiana. And anyway, we're playing this venue in Indianapolis, Indiana. I don't know if we played here twice or not, but I remember on one specific occasion, we kept getting bumped back, continually getting bumped back. And the problem was we didn't have proper equipment or something, because this place would not mic equipment. They would not mic any of our, they wouldn't mic an amp. We do not mic amps here.
Yeah,
we
it's
don't,
small, right?
We don't do that. It's not. It's. I'd say.
What are you talking about?
Was that at the Melody?
About playing this, yeah.
The Melody
Inn. You don't talk shit on the Melody Inn. That's my favorite fucking bar.
I wasn't.
You don't fucking. You don't mic shit at the Melody Inn.
That's why I didn't say the name.
I don't understand.
Rich Barker.
Rich.
No,
Barker's
but this guy,
fucking man.
But we're playing this guy. This guy's. We can't.
The sound guy there that night was saying that they don't mic amps.
We cannot. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, okay, we got this.
I don't like where this is going at all.
No,
I don't like where this is going at all.
No, this expertise sound guy.
Right. The sound guy
shoot me in the face.
No.
This guy, he's like, we'll straight plug the bass into the soundboard.
Right, yeah, I've never heard that before. It sounds like something, if I were a sound guy, I would suggest that, but it also sounds unprofessional. I've never heard that. It sounds like something that's...
It sounds like you're asking for something stupid, so he's offering something stupid.
Yeah.
I wasn't asking for anything stupid.
Well, he was willing to let us plug directly into his soundboard.
The problem was you guys wanted to amp a bass?
It was... Well, we could have amped...
I'm sorry, you guys wanted to mic a bass amp?
I think maybe he offered, but yeah...
or we could have mic'd the guitar and plug the bass into the other amp, honestly. That would have worked. But regardless...
What was the problem? Our equipment was real small?
It was practice.
10-inch amps or something?
There's plenty of... I think isn't that how Neil Young does it? He uses a really nice practice amp, but he mics it on stage.
Okay.
A lot of people do that. I just thought it was... standard practice.
Especially for smaller bands. I remember when me and Chris played, it was we would go there expecting. It was dude, we only got little amps, but they always mic them, man, so we don't even have to have big amps to sound good.
But the Melody Inn, you don't need...
I'm not complaining about... The thing is, I'm not complaining about the melody. I'm not...
Yeah, you're not. Okay, hey, we have a letter here. All right. This is to Lionel Olay. And it's from Hunter S. Thompson. It says, trading jobs with his old jousting friend Lionel Olay, Thompson levied a harsh critique of Lenny Bruce. This letter was written September 20th, 1963. From Woody Creek, Colorado, Box 7. Dear Lionel, thanks for the good advice to stay poverty-stricken until I can come through with a nice, esoteric little novel that won't make any money. I'm trying Kesey's book now. It's good, I guess, but so what? Books like that are like water when you want whiskey. Fuck 'em. I'll file the advice, of course, but in the meantime, what kind of money would Cavalier pay me for a short story or two? Better than Rogue? And how about a lewd article or two? Maybe a crotch-eye view of Aspen. I need money now. And who should I write to? What editor handles fiction? Am I learning fast and hard that a good contact is half the ballgame? Nobody knows what's good and what's not. The shits are killing us, as little Norman Mailer once said, and the only thing that depresses me more than dealing with an editor is arguing with the vicious cop. Mentally, it's the same league, the soft in the heart of it. Your thing on Lenny Bruce was a lot better than Aldous Huxley. Not so pretentious. It rang true. Even so, I think Bruce should be locked up, if for no other reason than to get him out of the way so a better man can carry the ball. I don't like the idea of my right to free speech riding on the fate of a flea-bitten punk like Bruce. It's like you said about the Faulkner quote I had. A writer don't rob his mother to write articles for the Rogue. Bruce is a phony, but I could forgive him, even that if he were funny. The best thing about your piece is that you resisted the common temptation to bracket him with Patrick Henry. My reaction is, move on, Jack. Don't block the aisles. Okay. Point me on to the big money, or any money at all. And when I'm famous, I'll buy you a drink. About 2 years. Greedily, HST. Alright, we're going to take a break. Does anybody have any comments on that?
About what you just read?
Yeah. Alright, we'll be back.
What's happening? This is Biz at MRR International giving a big shout out to the Chris Break Radio Show. My boy John Rapp out there. Do your thing, man. I see you.
Next up, we got kind of a new segment for you. We're going to play a song by a band called Say Yes. A CD came out in 2008. The CD is called Stories, Songs, and More. And we're going to talk to the artist who was involved with making this music after the segment, which happens to be Mr. Chris Break himself. He was the guitar player for this particular song on the project. And maybe the writer, and there's also a story that goes along with it that we're going to hear about. So check this song out, listen to what it's about, because it's a very story-oriented song, and then we're going to talk about it right after you hear it.
Next door. Had jars of urine and feces in the basement.
wood. They say he cooked meth in the basement next door. Yeah, I hear he cooked meth in that basement next door. 'Twas the one right after the 909. 'Twas the one the papers didn't write. They say he cooked meth in the basement next door. Had jars of semen in the basement next door. Had jars of urine and feces in the basement next door. They found him hanging in the basement next door.
They found him hanging in the basement next door. Wow. Is that the actual end of that song?
Yeah.
Wow. That was a great experimental, piece of music, This is definitely a very off-settling vibe, I saw Zach, me and Zach would just close our eyes and just listen to it, just soak it in, There's so many layers to it.
I did live in the house next door to the basement next door.
And
it conjured up
you were there for this.
Strange
Yeah,
feelings.
this song is apparently about something going on in the basement next door, You may not have caught all the lyrics or whatnot, but that's the gist that I hear about it. What was this about, you guys? You guys lived in this house next door?
Not I, but this was written about the house that Zach lived in.
At one point, you do mention a duplex, and
the whole song is about that specific story.
Well, we were half of this duplex, and we had moved in. There was an option. It was this duplex. Do you want to live in this old dilapidated half, or do you want to live in this brand new, fully carpeted, brand new painted half? And of course, we chose the half that was not.
Which half did you choose?
We chose the half that had different colored rooms in every single room. The half that wasn't, fully remodeled and refurbished.
You chose the haggard half?
Yeah, of course.
What do you mean, of course? Why? Not just. I understand going for, but I thought you were going to say that you chose the good half, the half that has carpet.
You would have thought that, but the other half had the carpet gutted and everything, and the people we lived with, it was probably a better choice to have these shitty hardwood floors. They weren't like nice hardwood that you assume. They were they're pretty worn in. So
there was a line in the song that says cereal boxes and a mattress hidden behind a wall.
That's so weird. I heard that. That's just creepy. Why are you going to hide that?
You don't remember anything about that?
I have no idea.
Oh, my God. That was the first time I went to your house. Like, you had this basement.
Well, so it was in the basement then. There was so much going on down there that it was hard to...
You had a basement that there was a wooden wall that was created on one half. Like, the basement was very long. But you could only access half of the, the longness would just kind of disappear into the distance.
It was kind of blocked off.
You could only go in the shallow part.
Half of it was made initially, it seemed like for a utility room. There were like washer dryer hookups. There was definitely a place where there was
a pile of garbage.
But it was a trash
debris, not garbage, not like rotting food, but debris.
But there was definitely
it was not furnished.
And when you saw it, it was
finished.
As is. We had never done anything to manipulate the condition of the basement.
I want to describe this. Like, seriously. Okay, you walk down the steps. Oh, let me close my eyes. You walk down the steps of this basement.
It was a turn, though, right? You walk down steps, and then you turn to the left and walk down the other set of steps. It was one of those. It wasn't like one just continual straight-down walk.
There's a kink in the steps.
I believe so. I know you at least had to duck your head.
Okay, so you're in this basement.
The worst part of going into a basement.
So you get
it was very closed knit.
When you get to the bottom of the steps,
the
rest of the basement is on your right, and it's very long. but you only have about 10 feet that you hang out. But past the rest of the 20 feet, like say it was 30 feet long.
There's another half
you
of
have
the room.
10 feet that you hang out, but there was another half. And you could see most of it, except it's very hard to explain. But there was a wall made out of wood that you could kind of peek through. Like but then on the other half of that, it was all a bunch of debris. Like leftover parts. And it went up, and it slowly, gradually went up to where it peaked, to where you'd be touching the ceiling with your head if you were to crawl back there. And it was so nasty and scary, you wouldn't crawl back there. But if you did crawl back there, you'd be able to go around the very tip of the corner and see what was on the other side of the wall.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's very like people under the stairs.
And Eric said that he looked. He's like, no, there's nothing back there. He's like, it's really kind of strange. There's like one trash bag. And then if you peek through with a flashlight, he's like, all I saw back there was a mattress on the floor and a box of Cheerios.
Dude, that's really creepy, man. It looks like
know.
someone's keeping a slave or something.
Yeah!
Like, that's
a
really
fucking...
sex slave or something?
Yeah, what's that girl's name? The horrible story of the girl in the 60s that we had here. They made a movie out of it with Ellen Page.
Yeah, I see. Ellen Page film. And I saw another movie that was about the same story, but Zach, you're not familiar with this?
Nope.
It was in your house.
Yeah, but wasn't.
Well, no, I know the story. I'm talking about these movies you're talking about.
Franco was in it. It's called American Horror Story. It was something like that. It was like an American crime.
Well, regardless, this place.
Yeah, that movie was
I
sick.
We'll see what happens.
Oh man, it was sick.
We move into this place, and you get your bearings, like
basement full of trash.
We're just palling around, Well, there's 4 of us, and there's 4 bedrooms. There's 3 bedrooms, and there's one
What was behind the wall?
that was used as a closet.
What was behind the wall?
That's what I'm getting to. Okay, there was one that was used as like a storage closet, and that was my room. And then there was
the basement.
There was an additional door in that room that led up into the attic of the next apartment.
Oh my god!
And it was unfinished, so it's all this unfinished stuff in the attic. But then you could go down. I mean, there was no lock. You could go down the other side of the house to just kind of bullshit. And we went over there, and it's super nice and everything like that. Son of a bitch.
Talking to your mic, sir.
I apologize, but yeah. Anyway, you go down, and this place is super nice. Like super nice inside. Brand new carpet, brand new painting, and then you go around, blah, 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 head into the basement.
This is on the other side of the house?
Yeah.
What was
like on the other side of the house. That's the thing.
What was down there?
What was on the other side of the basement?
What was down there? Did you go down there?
Next on.
What was going on in there?
There's no...
when we return.
I have no... It would be a bad when we return because actually the story kind of...
If you like what we're doing, you go to Potomac. Oh, and now we're back.
No, this was...
What is behind the basement wall?
This was actually like in the newspapers and stuff.
This is
right?
Oh no!
This is kind of limp. Okay, so we went. And,
I thought that was part of.
We went and checked this out, and it was honestly too dark and scary to actually like penetrate this thing. We had no flashlights, like cell phones. They didn't have all the apps where you could have like a, I'm not sure they did, but we didn't have a fucking LED flashlight, nothing. So we were all basically
a few years ago.
too frightened to go down in there. So we hear from the landlord. Eventually, the next door place ended up being a little weird. You always find this out after the fact that you move in, sort of like a poltergeist sort of thing.
By the way,
they say that's illegal.
From what and of course this isn't straight from the horse's mouth, as I say. This guy, I heard this. Somebody read this somewhere, but the basement. Apparently, at one point, this guy flipped out at the house. He was taking, too much acid, something along those lines. He ended up storing condoms full of semen in these like mason jars in his basement. Is what we've been told. Like that's the story we were told. This place looks immaculate. New carpet and everything, but to cover up this fact that apparently.
Yeah, they probably put the carpet in after the guy.
Yeah, after the guy, stained all the other carpets.
Right.
With semen.
Right.
And this guy
So you ended up being on the right side of the deal. You chose.
Yeah,
good
exactly.
thing you
Like,
didn't get the new
we
one,
are,
right?
good
Some
thing we're
jizz
like
stains underneath
we're
the carpet.
eccentric.
I didn't want
Whatever the case may be. Like the fact that we picked this side, it just worked out in our favor
Yeah,
because
sure did.
it goes without saying if you know us that there were various substances consumed at this other half of the, so if it was on the other half, I can only imagine the kind of negative energy and vibes it would invoke.
I remember
just semen jars and
Weiniger thought he got bit. Weiniger went behind the wall one time. Chris.
Oh, well, it would have been good if you just kept going with Weiniger, but then you had to include Chris in the equation, and then you just ruined it. That would have been okay if you just kept saying
Chris
Weiniger.
W. No.
might as well
C.
call him
Weiniger.
Dr. Pongfungy now.
Fuck it, as long as you don't tag his name, he said it's okay.
He did say that.
Yeah.
But our buddy went. I thought he said he got some brown recluse spider bites back there. Him and Eric said they crawled back there and they thought they got a bunch of spider bites. That's another thing that added.
I want to know what was going on with that mattress and the goddamn.
But that's what I'm saying.
I guarantee you it's in the news. There's some
I
news
looked it
article.
up. I looked at it. It was
reading
what was
it.
it?
Well,
911 Woodruff Place. Like what?
Yeah,
what was
let's
it?
talk about where this was. This was in Indianapolis.
That's the one after 909. Basically, the
Yeah.
Beatles song. That's
Yeah,
where
that's why.
we were at
Twas the
911.
one after 909. Twas the one the papers didn't write. It's not in the news. I looked it up.
Okay,
it's not
you
in
might
the
be
news.
right. You might be right. I lived there for a while, and
Nope.
I will say, and you've heard some stories.
It was a woman. It was a woman and her boyfriend.
Right. You lived in a different house in the same
that noise?
neighborhood.
I'm just saying.
So no.
I
I'm not
my
saying
computer
it's
and went,
illegitimate.
"Oh."
I'm just saying you didn't live in the same house in case
Oh,
anyone
yeah,
is
so
confused.
I lived in the neighborhood, but that neighborhood's weird.
It was a woman and her boyfriend. I can remember them coming up. They looked like weirdos, and they told us in great detail the story of what happened next door.
Ooh.
And that's the only way I ever heard it confirmed was from these people. I know I didn't live there, but my recollection of the story is that these people said the guy next door in this duplex used to cook meth. And he killed himself. And he was hanging in the basement when the police found him. He had jars of semen and jars of urine and jars of feces down there.
There we go. Well,
That's what I wrote the song off of.
That's a connection to the
But I don't know
semen
if any of it's true, but that's what I wrote it off of, was a woman saying that that's what happened next door.
And see, that's where the myth comes in because, we live there and we hear this story about semen in jars, like from the specific thing I remember is this guy had condoms of semen in jars.
Yeah, that's weird. I never heard that.
You know,
I
like,
really
this
enjoyed
is-
hearing that
Yeah.
because I was like, I never heard
Like
that.
I
detail.
specifically remember, and then you think to yourself, that's a really good way to preserve that possibly.
That makes
like,
it so much weirder.
I'll bring it full circle. We're about to end this talk about the song.
when I do meth, I really like to eat cereal and lay on a mattress.
Well, that is a great story.
No, that was the kid of the person doing meth.
Jeez.
Like, stop talking to me. Go back behind the wall.
Well, yeah, really. That's creepy.
That's
dude.
the worst thing is too. That's best case scenario.
That song that
that's
I wrote
best case scenario. It's
was inspired. I wrote that song based on a Primus song,
Wow, which one?
I guess, or something. I have no idea. Something about a guy who killed himself.
Oh yeah. Hung himself from the basement.
Yeah, see,
something like that.
Yeah, see, it comes full circle. Yeah, it was directly inspired by that. I was
It's
like,
got
I really
the same
like.
feel as that song.
Yeah,
you know?
it makes sense. I listened to that song and I was like, I want to write a song like that. What about Zach's house?
My name is Mud.
All right, so that wraps up the Say Yes thing. We're wrapping up here, the whole show. Sarah's not here. John Rapp's over there. And we have Zack Attack.
The whole
Although
show.
he hates that. He hates Zack. Do you hate Zack Attack? Do you hate it when I call you Zack Attack?
No, not necessarily.
All right, well, we
I'm going to assume he hates that.
Well, we got-
because
I
I would
just-
really
I
like it if
would.
he did hate it.
Well, no, I just... We have Zack Attack here, and we're wrapping up the whole show. And he is the host of Movie Buzzed.
I forgot about that.
Oh, that's why I'm here. That's why
Probably
I get
because I
paid
buzzed
nothing.
during the movies in the segment.
Yeah, new podcast hitting your face soon.
Correct. Yes. I am on a podcast. I am a co-host on a podcast. I would say that I probably, tend to lead this thing as best I can.
You can't hear yourself, can you, in your mic?
Yeah, I could.
Oh, okay.
Sound like I was
Well,
a
then
little
you have no
further away,
excuse
but we are on our second episode, so I'm getting used to this.
And you guys watch movies and discuss it as though you were amongst friends.
Pretty much. That's pretty much the description I give.
Talk about interesting factoids and stuff.
you're
Like, oh, you saw this actor in this other film.
But also, a majority, it's just when you're watching movies with your friends, it's kind of like a no holds barred sort of thing. Like, even though you're watching a movie, you make social commentaries. You make personal commentaries on your relationships. Like, it's just not only watching this movie and continually getting, more buzzed. Movie buzz, there you go. But it lends that, but that part of it, it lends itself to being more open and dropping your guard, which is the best part of the show. You
gotta say some pretty candid stuff on this. Well,
yeah, like
buzz.
we watch these movies, but
Caleb's really gay, isn't he?
That's the best part because I've actually had that question. I'm slowly getting there. I think pretty much by
Just kidding. We love Caleb. He's hilarious.
The end
guy.
of Movie Buzz, it will be revealed whether he is or not.
He has a wife. I know he's a heterosexual.
I mean, there's a deadline. Like, you're gonna by the end of season 1, you will discover is he or isn't he?
Well, that's a good season finale, man.
On Movie Buzzed, does he or doesn't he?
Does Caleb pick the movies?
Every week, 2 men will decide: are they or aren't they movie buzzed?
You'll pay for your whole seat, but you'll only need the edge.
Make sure that seat's assigned, or you might have to cramp it.
Make sure you live in California, or you're fucked on your seating arrangements. But
your tail is no excuse. Sitting on your ass will accomplish nothing other than a painful bum. This could go all night. This is horrible. Movie Buzzed, a new podcast coming to Indianapolis. Will you be there or won't you? What? Jesus Christ.
Oh no. Oh no, it's Movie Buzz.
You have to use the voice just like this.
Watch out. Movie Buzzed is coming for you.
Zack Attack coming to you live from the Chris Break Show's Mama's House studio. Caleb and Zach are Movie Buzzed.
We're buzzed, but not on movies.
What's Caleb's nickname on the show?
No, we don't have nicknames. We just go by...
You already have Zack Attack. What's
I don't.
Caleb's?
That's not my nickname. This guy just refers to me as that.
Zack Attack on the Movie Buzz. Check it out.
Zack Attack is himself.
You said you were the main guy on.
Actually,
on
I think if you Google Zack Attack, something from Saved by the Bell will probably pop up before my face.
Friends forever. Will they get through this podcast?
Will they always be friends? Stay tuned when Slater gets out of the hospital.
Forever until the end.
Jesse.
Will they or won't they? Kelly and Zach? Kelly and Slater? Kelly and Screech?
On the Zack Attack Movie Buzz.
On the Movie Buzz. Kelly and Jesse? I think so.
Oh my God.
Okay, so yes, we watch movies. That is what happens.
Does anybody else get the joke? Does anybody get this? I hope if somebody's listening, they get it a little bit.
This is what, Saved by the Bell?
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Forever
until the end.
Is that Friends till the end of Saved by the Bell?
Next on Movie Buzz, she's so excited and she just can't hide it.
You know.
We should do.
She's just so scared.
I know exactly. Everybody listening knows what's going on.
You would hope so. On the next Movie Buzz, what happened to Lisa? And who is this Tori girl?
We should totally do 5 minutes.
Tori's my
Saved by the Bell.
favorite. Tori's my favorite. I love that leather jacket. It's.
I want to ride on the back of your motorcycle and wrap my arms around you.
But Kelly, I don't have a license.
You don't need a license to drive this.
I got suspended because I went to driver's ed and I wrecked the test vehicle because somebody set me up.
I think it was fucking Mr. Tuttle. That chubby bastard.
Mr. Tuttle blaming the students for his own mistakes. Will you become a proper teacher? Find out next week Sorry. Zach lives on it. I could do this voice all day long.
It's like Don Fontaine or La Fontaine.
Who's that?
The guy that does all the... Well, he passed away, but he did, in a world.
I thought you were talking about, what's his name? Who's the cool hunk guy, Mr. Fontana, or what's the guy's name? The Attic? The movie star who comes to the anti-drug commercial, who has drugs in the bathroom, and it ends up being that guy. Nope. No. It's Saved by the Bell when they got the cool guy. Like they want to impress him. And he's doing the anti-drug commercial. Hollywood's coming to Bayside.
Yeah, Bayside.
Hey, Kelly, you want to take a hit?
Will she or won't she?
Next on Tales from Bayside.
This is getting real bad. This is going on. All right, somebody, I can't do it. I'm going to keep doing this voice.
Well,
nobody's.
Yes. Well, you will find things not of this nature on our podcast. It's entitled Movie Buzz.
Is it a lot of highbrow comedy you guys got going on over
Yeah,
there?
it's very elitist.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Very intellectual?
Caleb definitely makes that like
He really
a
is.
point of emphasis. He's like, I am highbrow comedy.
He comes off that way. It's kind of part of his shtick, but it's hilarious. It's hilarious.
The biggest thing I'm trying to get on this podcast, like for just for the listeners, he does this a lot. He goes, like he makes this sound, and I addressed him about it, and he says that like it's hypnotic. That's what he says. People have told him it's hypnotic. So when he like it draws you in because it's so deep. It's sexy. It's like, no, I need you to quit.
But is he doing that into their ears or into a microphone?
He's like,
what's
no, just like
sound?
this. He'll go, and then this guy's doing this, and it's this.
Oh,
Eric does that's kind of annoying.
Well, it's not bad. I don't mind. Actually,
yeah.
At first I was like, this isn't professional. You don't want to or and or but or
I'm going to tell you, if he starts saying that around Sarah, Silver Tongue will go, ugh, gross.
She'll break his balls down.
If he's like,
She hasn't heard him say it though. He is a smooth operator.
Well, I would like to hear it.
Yeah.
Well,
We should get them both in the Chris Break Show studio and put them together because that would be a match. Because he plays that up. He plays that up like the whole 50s. Like, well, honey, get in the kitchen.
No,
and
he
give
loves
me some
that.
dinner.
Oh,
Yeah.
he
He's totally
loves
like, yeah.
like it's not only that. Just like his whole aura. Like he loves just being kind of pompous. Like
Deep down,
he's
every woman wants to get in the kitchen and make her man dinner.
They all say they want the nice guy, but they settle for the bad boy.
Does he say things like that on the movie Buzzed?
Like what? Like
Exactly like what you just said, like that voice. Like, is he seriously talking? Like,
I've never heard him use that voice in my entire life.
all right, good. I think this movie Buzz sounds pretty good as long as he doesn't actually say things
It's not
like
too
that.
bad. The first episode, it was definitely a test run. But by the second episode, we were extremely confident and just addressing one another. It's it's the whole intimidation factor of like the technology kind of drops away, and it's like we're here being friends, doing what we normally do. Excuse me. We're drinking a couple of beers and watching some movies, and that's another thing too. I like to.
What movies you guys watch?
Well, we watched 2 movies so far. I don't know if we watched.
What movies did they watch? Will they finish them, or won't they? Will John ask again, or won't he?
No, just keep talking.
Will
I'll cut you
John
off with
continue to ask questions until the show is over? Will the show end, or won't it? Will he ask?
I totally cut you off by saying you're like, yeah. Another thing was like, what movies you watch? Just keep talking about something, and then I'll keep saying what movies you watch to cut you off, and you'll never get
And
anywhere.
then,
We watched this movie about that shitty doorman at the Melody Inn who's trying to set up sound. He's a fuck off.
and then,
We've watched Goon. It's more of an independent
And
movie, starring
then-
William Scott. And then the next week we watched High Fidelity. And then we did nothing because that's as far as we've gotten.
You know what? You should watch either Take This Waltz or Sleeping Beauty.
No.
That would be a cross.
See, the beauty of the show right now is one of us, except for High Fidelity, it doesn't work. But we pick the movies alternate weeks, And ideally, one of us has not seen the movie, and the person who's picked the movie, loves it or has seen it multiple times.
Who picked Goon?
I did. Well,
Okay.
it was.
Who picked Sleeping Beauty?
Who picked Goon? Find out on the next Movie Buzz.
Wolf on Wall Street.
Don't hold that against whoever picked Waltz on Wall Street.
Well, you know what? We're going to wrap this up because I actually did want to hear what Zach was about to say until John gave him the open-ended question that keeps the show running forever. Zach, if you can remember exactly the moment that I wanted to hear what you had to say, I would be more than pleased to listen to it. If you can actually, do you actually know? Because do you know? Like, you were about to say something that sounded really important to me. I was like, oh man, he's got a point he's about to hit here. But then John said,
I picked that at a time to cut you off as a joke.
you ruined
Good
it. 'Cause
one, buddy.
I actually wanted to hear what he was about to say.
I was actually emotionally invested in what this man said, and then you fucking...
Well, if it's that good, I'm sure you remember it. What is the interesting thing about that?
I don't know. I think maybe it was a...
Do you want to
we were talking
rewind?
about that... No. We were talking about that the personal experience is the heart of the show, the meat of the show, if you will.
Yeah, speaking to your mic is even meatier.
I'm awfully meaty
Will he
right
or
now.
won't he?
Will he, won't he? Sometimes he faces me, sometimes he faces the microphone.
Will he face on or face off?
I want to take his face.
That's why the microphone is on a rotating
Face
beam.
off.
You can move the beam wherever you feel comfortable, and it will follow you around.
Ooh, if you can't see right now, I'm rotating my head.
It's lubed and everything. It's designed for your comfort.
See, we don't have those
The
capabilities.
microphone.
See, that's what I'm not
That
used
was
to.
$20 at Guitar Center.
At Movie Phone, we have the tripod that at Movie Phone. At Movie Phone, Buzz.
Yeah, that's a good
that's
idea.
Eventually,
Calling movie phone buzz. Would you like to watch Caleb in a dress?
eventually, at the end of the movie, at the end of Movie Buzz, that's what it becomes. It's no movie. It's just Buzz.
We need to give out Caleb's cell phone number and people can call him all. So, what movies did I get, man?
Are we doing a show right now?
If you are interested in Pacific Rim, please press 1.
Hey, I think I need to go.
If you are interested in the Goonies, please press 6.
Hey, man,
I just made a 69 joke.
I need to get something. I need an answer.
Okay, well, the answer is the best part of the show is not the commentary on the movies, but it's the real life experience that we bring. For example, a preview, sort of. Caleb apparently has met, spoiler alert, which I'm not supposed to say, Tim Robbins. Like, he served this guy as a civil servant. And that is the better than watching Tim Robbins on screen is hearing this guy talk about meeting Tim Robbins and being completely nonchalant about the whole experience.
He's got a Tim Robbins story.
Yes.
Nice.
It's one of the best celebrity encounters I've heard.
You have not heard a celebrity encounter because that celebrity encounter sounds uneventful.
No,
I would
see
tell
that's
you,
that's the best part about it is
you
it's
wanna
completely
hear it.
uneventful. Every time you hear a celebrity story, it's like, oh, I went up to this guy and got pictures and did this. He didn't even acknowledge the fact that Tim
You have
Robbins was
not-
right in front of him.
You have not lived until you heard Dr. Robert tell his Brooks and Dunn story.
Oh, man. Dude, it's
He
so...
was supposed to come on the show and tell it today, but Dr. Robert, one up. Boing. Dr. Robert has the best Brooks and Dunn story I've ever heard in my life.
Would you consider Brooks and Dunn or Tim Robbins bigger celebrities?
I consider the story better. And
Yeah.
Robert has an incredible Mike Epps story. Robert had a screaming match with Mike Epps to his face.
Actually, don't you have a story about a local celebrity, Reggie Wayne? Do you have a Reggie Wayne story about
Am
tipping?
I allowed to say that?
Why not?
Darren from Indy in soon. You
not
tell us your
you're not-
opinion.
I'm
Okay.
not going to go into that, but I will say that I had a personal experience with Reggie Wayne a couple times.
You're not
and
saying
that
anything
guy-
untrue, correct? I mean,
I'm
that's
not going to go into the details because I don't think it's entertaining. But I will
What?
tell you that Reggie Wayne is a complete asshole, and he's a cheap bastard.
Going into
Well,
the
there you
story
go. That's all we need.
might be less slanderous than saying Reggie Wayne's an asshole.
He's just
I'm not-
he's
no,
condensing the mundane
let me-
into the interesting and most interesting fact.
Yeah, like I'm not saying
Getting to the meat.
the story is
Again,
the
the meat.
story is not entertaining. The story's not funny. But the fact is, with my personal experience dealing with that guy, he's an asshole, and he's cheap, and he's just a disrespectful prick.
But see, now people want to know why. And when you say that comedy is kind of a subjective
He doesn't
thing,
tip, and he gets it for free. He gets it for free, and he doesn't tip.
He makes a lot of
And
money.
he's
Big
slow.
star. He tries to get it for free.
I think it's funny because
and
He says 10
tip.
minutes.
Hey,
He
hold
takes
up.
4 hours.
Yeah,
he
hold
doesn't
up.
pay, and he doesn't tip.
And doesn't his
Why
entourage-
you wasting my time?
and doesn't his entourage do the same thing
His
as well?
entourage does the exact same thing,
very
and they
disrespectful.
expect special treatment. Reggie Wayne is just a prick that I do not respect.
Is he a black guy?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
So he falls into the comedic stereotype of blacks not tipping.
Oh,
Did you see how I got out of it? Did you see how I just played
you
that?
didn't
I
get.
think
You
that's
just
pretty
actually
I see what you
dug
did.
deeper
good.
into the
Thanks,
hole.
Chris.
I see what you did there.
I see
Whether
what
or not
you're
it was
trying to do, but what you actually did
Did
is
you put me
dug
into the
deeper
hole?
into
No.
a
I
racist
think
hole.
we just played off. I think we just kind of did something where we just kind of we worked it together to where I said all the stereotypes that he did, and then you pointed out that he was black, and then we stay out of the hole of
We're not
stereotyping
commenting
somebody.
on it. We're spectating on the fact that is a stereotype. Louis C.K. has
I
an
think we just
episode
put
of-
ourselves back in the hole.
Louis C.K. has an episode of his show Louis, which we all like to watch. He had the whole thing. The beginning about that is like that. He was afraid to tell this black waitress like this guy's not tipping, and she's like, black people don't tip. She's allowed to say it. I'm not.
No, that's not true. That's not true.
And it's not true,
No,
but
no.
it's a comedic
No, no.
It's
stereotype.
absolutely not true.
No,
you've
it's-
worked a tipping job. We've all worked tipping jobs.
No,
at one
it's
point.
true. It's true that black people don't tip white people. That's what's true.
Really? Yeah.
Oh,
see,
yes.
I
Look
wouldn't-
at this
I wouldn't
guy.
know
Oh
that.
yes,
Nice.
I wouldn't
yeah,
know that
because
I'm
you
not a black person.
wise up to that. I'll tell you right now, Damon Wayans, one hell of a tipper. But you always got to send your friend in. You know, you have white people take care of white people and black people take care of black people.
That's bizarre.
If you expect to get tips, because white people aren't going to tip black people and black people aren't going to tip white people. It's very strange, but it's funny when you're the tip recipients and you're working with
You're the tippee.
tip recipient tippee, tipperoo, and you got a black guy and a white guy working next to each other, and we're like, hey man,
Damon Wayans is an asshole. He's not tipping.
yeah, and
He's
we're
like,
just looking,
What?
we're looking at each other, and we're like, hey man, black people don't tip me. He's like, well, they tip me, but white people don't, and I'm like, damn. Well, how about you take care of the black people and I take care of the white people?
There you
And
go.
you figure it out. The next thing you know, Damon Wayans is super nice and he's laughing. He's a great guy.
Wow.
And then he's got a bus full of his family members, and he comes off the bus and he's like, "Hey man," he's like, "Everybody give me money. Take care of my guy." And Damon Wayans is collecting money. Next thing you know, he's handing a fucking handful of cash to my guy.
Wow.
My guy.
Wow.
Yeah.
So by giving him a black waiter or whatever, that made him more jovial, made him want to spend some
Well,
more
not
money.
him. I'm sure he would have given it to a white guy. But
Oh.
I'm saying we're talking about celebrities, so I'm keeping it on task with celebrities here.
Yeah.
You're doing a very
But-
good job of that.
Yeah, but black people tend to tip black people and not white people. White people tend to tip. It's strange. It's very strange. And girls always get the biggest tips, especially the
Yeah.
hot ones.
Oh, of course. That makes nothing but perfect sense.
But I got one tip for you.
What is this tip, Chris? I'm anxious to hear it.
A tip about
Are
what?
you ready? Here's my tip.
Are you going to pull out your penis?
Oh, Chris Brake's getting the ukulele out. This is important too.
My tip is quit while you're ahead.
That would mean that we were actually ahead at some point, which I don't believe we were.
Quit while you're ahead. Quit while you're ahead. Quit while you're ahead. Just to let everybody know, I went to our buddy Van's house, lives right down the street, and I gave him a handshake while I was over there, and I saw myself give him the handshake that Chris Brake mentioned earlier. Zach, let me give this to you real quick.
Put it there, pal.
Handshake where you go like this. Yeah.
Oh, you seem to enjoy that a little bit.
You have very soft hands. So do I, though. So let me do that. Let's do that one more time.
He wants the redemption. That's
Put
how.
her there.
That's how.
I just want to get the full effect so I know.
Well, here, try. Okay, and I'll give you a real handshake. Do you like that better?
Yeah, Yes. See, that's... Oh. See, you went... Yeah, okay.
Chris, did you just give him the limp hand?
He
Yeah,
did.
give him
It's
a
different. Okay. I could definitely tell you it's different when you're not expecting it.
Yeah.
And it is strange.
Out of the blue, I didn't even prep Van. I was just like, yeah, we'll see you later, man. I gave him that handshake. He was like...
So you held his fingers
weird.
from the palm up. You didn't actually grasp his palm. You just grabbed his fingers, basically, like all his fingers.
Yeah,
And just like,
and then your hand kind of collapses
think-
into theirs or something, and
it might be
it's
like...
definitely a very. And he goes, that was like a girl's handshake.
But it's like a very, like...
It's like, yes, madame. That's kind of how I feel. Like if I were going to take your hand and kiss it, that's how I would do it. You know what I mean? Like,
But
yes,
if you're-
madame. But it's
you're the
definitely
one-
very feminine.
I don't know which one would make me feel more uncomfortable.
But if you're the one,
Yeah,
see,
you-
that's the difference. You're the one coming. You're the one coming with the knowledge and the authority. So when you grab someone's hand like that, they feel like it's the lady's hand.
Yeah. My
You know.
hand is the lady's hand.
No, you grabbing their hand
You
because
feel
they're
like the
not
bitch.
expecting it. They're just going. They're going for the hardness, and you go for the. You know,
well,
so
you
they're
feel like the bitch, right?
Yeah,
when you're
like-
grabbed. When you're
like
grabbed,
when you're going to go for I'm going for a
grabbed,
handshake.
no, hold on. When you're grabbed by the tips, you feel like the bitch.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah.
You feel like the lady because you're not you're not expecting it, but B, yeah, it's
Why
like
is everybody trying to make me feel like a bitch then?
Is that how people shake your hand on a
Yes.
normal circumstance, like normal basis?
7 out of 10.
7 out of 10.
Do you think you're taller than them?
That's-
Chris is taller than I am.
I am
think.
taller, and that's why I say that it's me. Like the fact that it happens so frequently, I decided that it had to have been something. My approach was wrong.
See, I've had
or
that.
maybe I just appear to be the bitch.
I've had that experience a couple of times, maybe, but not. 7 out of 10. That seems like a very high ratio.
But
of-
you're the one that instigates the hand being held like that, right? Like you could change it.
I put my hand
Not
in,
really.
and all of
Yeah.
a sudden they're squeezing my tips.
like,
Oh,
you're-
you put the hand out first, and then so
I
they
don't
decide
know.
how to latch.
All I know is it's handshake time. I'm showing up. I put my hand out to shake, and the next thing I know,
It's a
someone's squeezing my
mutual-
tips.
It's a mutual agreement. Hey, we're going for the handshake.
Okay, I get what you're saying.
You go for the strength. You're like, yeah,
Well,
and then
you-
all of a sudden, someone,
If you don't
I
want,
just noticed that I get the tips all the time. Everybody always like squeezes my tips.
If
Like
you-
I don't know what it is. Like
if you don't want people squeezing your tips, I recommend that you initiate the full hand grab. Like don't just stick your hand out and wait
tried.
for
You
them
do
to
the
grab
business
it.
grab where
Like,
you grab the
push
back of
onto
their
it.
hand
You
and-
push onto it and
okay,
you say,
so I just need to just take that.
yeah, take it and then push it. Because if you just put
Take
your
it and
hand out
push
there,
into it.
like if you're just like, hey, cool, and you wait,
do
for
whatever, do what have you. Yeah,
All
do,
I know is
just throw
do
your
what
arm
you
out
will.
there. You gotta like push it and act.
If you
like
throw your arm out
gotta-
there, you might get like some kind of like palm grasp, like
Yeah.
multiple
I
handshakes.
just start squeezing before I even get in there. Like you know what I mean? Like it's like okay, I'm ready to shake hands, but all of a sudden they're squeezing.
Who are these people? Like, is it-
Everyone, I don't
everyone.
know. Everyone happens to me all the time. I get embarrassed and I have to back it up. I'm like, hey man, I don't appreciate you squeezing my hand like that. I'm like, hey, let me get a real handshake.
You don't say
okay?
it. Do you say
yeah,
that?
he
Oh no,
does.
I do. I start it
does.
over. I start
Nice.
over the handshake process. I say, hey, I don't feel comfortable with you doing that to me.
Because I've acknowledged, yeah, I'm sure. Hopefully, so some of us might be strange, but acknowledge, an improper greet, a handshake, high five, something that doesn't work out. Like we're going for the high five, we miss. Like
right,
you need to acknowledge that.
right.
But that's if you both realize that something's wrong. If someone comes
I don't
with
do the high fives. Like,
well, I'm just saying, like, coincidentally, if someone does the fingertips and they do it on purpose and don't think they're doing something wrong, they're like, "What are you talking about, buddy?"
I'm just gonna start blowing up on him. Like, ugh! Anytime
Grabbing
they
my
grab
tips.
You do not shake my hand like that. One mess up around me. That's
better
all you
believe
get. From now on, you shake it like a man.
Shake it like a man. Shake like a man.
We have a system. We have a system.
Shake like a man.
So we're going a little-
Squeeze my hand.
You going a little deeper here? Is it?
I don't know. It makes me
is
feel
it-
uncomfortable.
But is
though.
it like a societal thing that's
It could
been
be a
beat into you
societal
that
thing.
you're
I feel like I'm
you're a
just-
man, you shake like this, you accept handshakes like this.
No, to me, you fucking a man's handshake is a man's worth. You know,
It's his word.
Okay, so
you get a worth. It's his
So all
worth.
these-
Yeah,
so
it's
all
also-
these-
obviously,
You get
it's
in
his
there,
word,
and you
it's his
shake that
proof,
hand
it's
like a
his-
man.
But
I've
have all
always,
these-
I've always been raised that way, like a man's handshake
Have all these tip
determines the
grabs
strength
been,
of the man. And then all of a sudden, I'm trying to shake somebody's hand, and they're squeezing my
like,
tips.
"Hello."
I'm like, hey, buddy, I'm worth more than this as a man.
That's
like
true.
you don't,
It's kinda
you don't
disrespectful.
squeeze my tips like
Are all
this.
these-
Like,
so all these are
chill
all
out and give
men.
me time to actually give you a proper hand. Why are you squeezing my tips before I get in to actually give you a handshake? Like what? Why are you doing this to me?
These are all.
We would have to ask him, and I think I'm going to next time.
I'm going to next time. Next time a guy does this to me, I'm going to feel like I got sexually assaulted. I'm like, what? Don't you realize that I just talked about this for an hour, man?
It's my tips. By the way, check out the Chris Break podcast if you're interested in hand tip.
I don't have
shakes.
the time here, but just listen to my show, okay?
You'll understand my frustration with this situation.
I'm so mad at you, episode number 10. Listen to it.
These are all men hand grabs, though.
I hope Darren from Indian Tune, like, really? Really? Is that insulting? I can't, Darren, anytime I hear Indian Tune, it makes me think of Indian Tune.
I told you not to bring that up on the air.
See, this is the beauty of the old Movie Buzz podcast is when we start getting buzzed, he gets a little racially charged, and you can just boop. Just edit that. That's the beauty of being the runner of the show.
This had nothing to do with race. What are you talking about?
I don't edit. I don't edit. I just edit. I edit on the fly, and I do what I got to do.
We were talking about race, but not this particular instance.
All right, your mic's back on. Sorry.
I
can hear that.
Darren's white.
Bill Burr had a
I think
piece that he was talking about. He was like, a grown man does not ask another grown man if he wants a cookie,
This is getting loose. This is supposed to be an in-between.
In-between.
We're going back to break and coming out. Somebody tell us. Somebody do something here.
You want to bring us back from the break?
No, you have to...
Going to break?
Yeah.
This is your special guest host, Zach, from Movie Buzz. We're going to head to the break here on the Chris Break Show. The Break.
Hey, we're back on the Chris Break Show. Dale, what happened today, sir? You. Hey.
A man finds himself in between his working clothes and his regular clothes. His working clothes you could call slave rags, you know what I mean? There's a big speculation as to whether or not the Industrial Revolution had anything to do with the abolishment of slavery back in the wee days. It's like this mechanical device can get rid of 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 people's labor. Ha, ha, hoo, hoo. The pallet jack itself can get rid of 7 men's labor. So you need to pick up these boxes and move them over there. And that hydraulic device itself, got rid of 7 men's work for the day, which meant them 7 men had to work and they had to sell their chickens and all that good stuff. Well, I find myself sitting in between the same situation sometimes in the 21st century where we got cell phones that can pick up the same things that pallet jacks used to do way back in the day.
What the fuck is that? What's that noise?
It's important not to get too distracted from all that good wash. So I found myself going to pick up my provisions because I live in New Jersey, right on the border of Pennsylvania.
What the fuck is that?
Some ragtime
I
bar.
found myself over there picking up my mealworms to feed my reptilian companion. He's my companion because I'm a witch. So I go to the bait and tackle store and I pick him up some mealworms and waxworms. And I go over there and I pick up my tobacco by bulk, a drum and a can, $21.75. And I found myself walking by an alleyway. I walked by the alleyway, and I was walking down the main street, and I saw this alley, and the buildings were high, and they were tall, and it was a tight alley, maybe only 4 feet wide. And I said to myself as I walked by, I turned around and stopped, and I said, I'm going to walk through that alley. And I'm going to walk through that alley, and I'm going to absorb all the mildew and the dankness of it as if I'm creeping into some type of ancient vagina. I'm going to enjoy every step, every light fragment that is popped down from the sky, from the splintering of the wood that came down from the hill, yeah. 250 years ago. And I did, and I walked through it and it texturized my spirit. And that's the only way you're ever going to get out of it with a grip is if you got a little scrape to you. Ha-ha. And then I walked out, took that venture, and I looked up above me, and I saw the sky. And then I kept walking, and I was walking by these railroad tracks. And in the bushes, I heard... And I thought maybe there was a mole walking by, making all this noise in the brush. And then I saw a seagull to my left. And I said, oh, damn, there's a seagull up above me. And then I looked up to my head, and I saw 50 seagulls swirling around me. And all of a sudden, all this started coming down on me like it was raining, you know. And I started picking up my pace, and I'm walking on the railroad tracks. I'm like, and all this poop starts shooting down at me. You know, I can imagine these guys. They're all doing a uniform flight. And they're like, left, right, forward, up, down, shit. And so I got out of the line of fire from these seagulls, and I got onto the bridge that crosses the Delaware, the same one that George Washington crossed the other way, backwards, reverse cassette tape. And I was passing a couple of guys that were walking by, and they said, hey, man, you got to watch out for them seagulls, man. Shit on your head. You got to watch out for them seagulls. And I've heard that if you get shit on the head by a bird, it's good luck. But I mean, I got shit on the head by a bird a couple of years ago, and nothing of good luck came from it. And then I ran to my good friend Nikki Nalbo, and she was sitting in traffic, and she was on her way to Pennsylvania. And I was carrying my provisions of, edible mealworms for my lizard in my tobacco pouch. And she said, hey, Dale, what's going on? Is that Dale? And I was like, yeah, it's me. And she's like, oh, do you need a ride? And I was like, no, I'm going the other way. I'm going the other way. I'm going into New Jersey, away from Pennsylvania, where the fucking bird shit is plentiful. And she said, oh, I'm going into Pennsylvania. And then I said, oh, beware the seagulls, for they'll shit on your head. And that was about the extent of it. I came down to the Mill Hill Saloon where they were shooting a video for Honolulu, and everything went well. There was a puppet involved. Text messages occurred between different females that I know and I don't know. And I played the piano. And everyone's a crabby-ass son of a bitch, as far as I can tell. And I like the people that are mean. I like scraping away the layers of the mean people, and I like finding the good inside of them, instead of the people that are nice on top. And then you find out that they're crummy little sons of bitches. You know what I mean?
It's not a reference to me. I'm sorry.
This is a reference to me.
Who is that?
Amanda, this has nothing to do with you.
Tell her to sit it down.
And seldom will people ever know what it's like to be, in the bars after hours and have a companionship with the bartenders who are your friends, and then they give you free reign of the goddamn piano. And you can exercise this very viscous, dark, spiritual goo of a night, that's almost elastic. You can stretch it, and you can bend it, and you can mold it like Play-Doh. And that's what I enjoy doing, and you can do that. You can stretch out. So whenever you're drunk and you're sitting in a chair, a four-leg chair, and you stretch back and say, ah, and then boom, you drop. That's a sensation, all right? A sensation is not going to your office job every fucking day and looking at your computer and talking to some guy he's got the same file, and he says, can you deliver that by this time in the PM? And you get together at TGI Fridays or Applebee's and have beers at 6 p.m. And then you make sure that you're in bed by 8 so that you can be up. Fuck that shit and eat your mom's asshole out, because I don't need fucking fall scented candles or all your dog shit and my shit and your fucking mom's shit. Basically what I mean to say is
keep going. I thought that was the end there.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we should continue letting everyone listen to this. I don't know what's about to happen. This is live. This is really happening. A lot of people are like, is that a voicemail? No, there's no voicemail. Like, the guy's not calling, leaving a voicemail. Like, he's on the phone right now doing whatever. Hello? Yeah.
I think maybe he moved it closer to the piano. I think he heard us. He did mention Hana Lee. That's the band.
Anthony's band. Yeah, they do play at the Melody Inn.
They did. They played with the Mentors.
And I bet they don't fucking bitch about not miking their goddamn shitty fucking amp coming with a shitty guitar sound coming out of it. Like, are you kidding me? And I got the end of that guy's story earlier, Zach from Movie Buzzed. And the end of the story was they didn't get the time slot they wanted. Are you kidding me? Is that why you started telling? You did the end of the story, the peak, is we didn't get the time slot we wanted. What the fuck is it? And I was about to make a joke and be like, is this the first show you ever played? But it was.
I think it was.
Yeah, it was the first show you ever played. So, dude, congratulations for your first show ever being played at the Melody Inn, man.
Yeah.
Like, that's pretty cool. Sorry that I had to cut you off. But, tell a better story next time. Don't be dissing my favorite bar in the city, like in the state, like maybe in the world. I'm pretty limited here with my knowledge of awesome bars, but I would say it goes in my top 5 of favorite bars in the world. The
Melody Inn.
The Melody Inn
In Indianapolis.
Yeah, 38th in Illinois, I believe, is where it's at. But yeah, you're listening to this show. John, you got anything you want to say? Nope, it's over. I'm going to cut off your microphone.
Well, I don't have anything else to say, but thank you for asking.
Hey, check us out on websites. Have a good night. Websites.